Hey, welcome to this session. We're going to be covering your data is now in Microsoft 365, but is it backed up? Just to introduce myself, my name is Sam Woodcock. I'm Senior Director of Cloud Strategy at iland. I'm loving the opportunity to kind of walk you through this topic today. So let's move forward. So organizations like yourselves have been turning to Microsoft 365 really to streamline employee productivity. They're enabling communication, creation, collaboration from anywhere. And we're seeing more and more folks doing this, especially in the times that we find ourselves in today. And if we look at the statistics, over 180 million Microsoft 365 users today, and 1 in 5 corporate employees actually use Microsoft 365, most likely like yourselves today, to do those collaboration tasks as an organization. So it's a widely adopted product. And the reality is that business critical applications, data, they're no longer in just one place, maybe like they were traditionally. In fact, they spread across multiple environments, from on-premises, potentially using VMware-based environments to host HR systems and accounting systems, for example. They may be hosting applications in the cloud with cloud providers such as iland to host analytics, business-to-business applications, and legal, for example. And a whole bunch of different SaaS applications are being leveraged by organizations, including Microsoft 365, but also others such as Salesforce and G Suite, for example. And all of these services rely on critical business data that sits across all of these different services. And so really, if we think about that with data across all of these different locations, a multi-layered data protection strategy is really required. And what I mean by that is we need to prevent things from happening, obviously, from a security perspective and a human error side, protect those assets and that data, but ultimately we need a solution for anywhere your data sits to be able to seamlessly recover it back into that environment. Again, it's really critical regardless of where that data resides. And alongside technology, it's really critical, obviously, to consider security culture, have clear processes, find the right technology first of all, but also rely on specialized expertise, such as the expertise that Computerworld and iland provide to help you leverage that technology to the full extent. So we're going to be talking about that today. So first of all, I wanted to cover what exactly does Microsoft Backup? What is the roles, responsibilities, and retention policies that they lay out as an organization? The good news is that Microsoft are very clear in terms of their responsibilities and your responsibilities as a consumer of their services. So Microsoft really clearly say that they're responsible primarily for the global infrastructure, what powers Microsoft 365, making sure that that's always on for you as a business to rely on. They're also supporting you with data replication services between data centers so that your data is spread across multiple regions from a geographical redundancy perspective. They're also providing some limited recycle bin capability so that if data is deleted, there's a short-term recycle bin that allows you to recover that data when you need it. And again, also they're responsible for the security aspects and the regulatory requirements from application level security through to physical security as well. But clearly on this website, you can visit it on the Microsoft 365 Trust Center. They clearly mentioned that your responsibility is your Microsoft 365 data. And if you think about it, there's a lot of critical data that you house within this service, and they squarely put that within your responsibility. So they make sure that you understand that when you use this service, you need to make sure that you have a copy of your data stored in a different location with a backup solution, with full data retention so that you have the ability to recover the data when you need it. And again, making sure that you're covering with this solution to cover incidents such as accidental deletion and malicious insiders through to security incidents that we see day in, day out in the news as well. So again, clearly, this is a responsibility of an organization. It's not covered by default with the solution. So if we think about backup in general, why do you need a backup solution anyway? And again, you're probably answering it as I'm speaking it. Any solution or service that you're running relies on that mission critical data. There's a myriad of reasons why you need a backup solution, including obviously malicious insiders and departing employees. We've seen a rise in privilege misuse as they leave the organization with certain permissions. We don't want them to do your business harm as they leave the organization. So we have seen incidents, and it's important to cover these aspects as an organization. Obviously, there's a whole myriad of different external security threats. Ransomware attacks have increased over 97% in the past 2 years. And this is really an ever-growing threat, a lot of different threats, different types of evolving threats within the space, and it's important to protect against those as well. Retention gaps is important. So for an organization, you may have specific retention goals that you need to meet from a compliance and a legal perspective, or the industry that you utilize. And so it's important to make sure that you cover and have a backup strategy that is retaining that data to meet those needs. And if we think about it, the average time to discover that data has been lost is generally actually about 140 days. And we're going to delve into what Microsoft 365 provide by default, but you'll find it's very limited. And so there's a need for a backup solution for this service. Obviously, legal and compliance, things like GDPR, other regulatory requirements, they mandate the need to have data protection in place. And there's fines and obviously impact if you're unable to recover that data for individual users or customers. And obviously accidental deletion, these things happen more frequently than folks think. Actually, if you look at the statistic on screen, 37% of folks have actually suffered a data loss incident due to the accidental deletion. I've done that myself personally as an IT sysadmin. So it's important to have that plan B, that ability to recover the data should this happen. And so you're probably asking, back to that statistic, how often do these issues actually happen? Are they going to be once in a blue moon, for example? Again, if we look at the statistic, the top level statistic is that 37% is user error or accidental deletion. So it happens very frequently. And then 18 and 19%, you can see security incidents, retention policy gaps. There's many reasons why you need this, and they actually happen pretty frequently as well. So where does that leave you? What's the solution to this challenge? If we look into this next slide, what we're going to be talking about today is the iland Secure Cloud Backup for Microsoft 365. And the idea and the intention for this product was to provide complete protection for all of the data housed within your Microsoft 365 environment. So complete protection with the service. And if we look at this side-by-side comparison between what Microsoft provide by default and what iland provide with its backup service, you can see, for example, when an employee leaves the company, Microsoft will actually permanently delete that data after 30 days. If you delete OneDrive files by accident or intentionally, they're archived for a little bit longer, but after 3 months, that data is permanently deleted. So if you can see this side-by-side comparison for all of these different scenarios, and there's a wide range of scenarios, iland will back up this information on a daily basis and will store this indefinitely to give you the option to recover the data when you need it. And again, back to my earlier point, it takes about 140 days on average for an organization to discover that they may have deleted something accidentally, that a security incident may have taken place. And if you look at those default settings from Microsoft being 30 to 90 days, there's a need again to make sure that you have a more robust data protection strategy in place. And that's where hopefully we come in with Computer World with what we can offer from a Microsoft 365 data protection perspective. So I did want to give you a brief overview of who iland are and why maybe you should be speaking to us around this solution. We've actually been delivering IT services for over 25 years. We've been specialized on cloud and disaster recovery for the last 12 years, and we actually operate in over 10 global cloud regions across the globe. So you can pick the right location to meet your data sovereignty requirements, your access requirements, and just to fit in terms of what industry and compliance needs you have. What differentiates us as well is we have an 100% availability SLA on our core platform, so that we'll be always backing up your data and always be there should you need to recover it. And we also provide support from the design phase through to implementation and ongoing as well. So as you use this technology, as you need to use it for recovery for mission critical data, you can rely on us to provide that support on an ongoing basis as well. So let me move forward and talk a little bit about our data protection expertise. Actually, in fact, we've been working with Computer World, we've been working with Veeam, we've been working with a lot of industry recognized people to deliver data protection services for some time, as you could see before, 12 years. And actually for the last 4 or 5 years, we've been actually seen as a leader in data protection with people like Gartner. If we fast forward to 2019, you'll see iland as the leader in data protection. You'll also see Veeam Innovation Awards and Veeam Impact Partner of the Year Awards. Basically, we do a lot of work with customers to provide working solutions. And that's really the critical aspect, is the ability to execute. And you can see that Gartner put us very far along there in terms of our ability to provide working solutions for our customers as well. And data protection is one thing that we do. We also do things like cloud hosting. So I did want to give you a quick overview of our products. We provide secure cloud hosting with our infrastructure as a service offering, as well as things like labs as a service, as well as object storage as well. And in terms of data protection, we obviously offer the product we're talking about today, the Microsoft 365. We also provide offsite backup with Veeam using their Veeam Cloud Connect service. We're actually the largest provider of that service globally. And we also provide disaster recovery as a service. And this is really critical for VMware-based workloads that you may have on premises, is to protect them with both a backup and a disaster recovery solution. And then obviously, if you have Microsoft 365, complete that story and have a holistic data protection strategy for your organization. And you'll see some of our key attributes here: being global, being flexible, providing you that support. We have these core attributes across all of our offerings as well. So if you're interested, definitely reach out to find out more. But I'm going to be delving specifically into Microsoft 365 today and talking a little bit how it's going to work as well for your organization. So we tried to keep it simple, not only from a technology side, but it's simple to consume from a pricing perspective. So the only thing to pay for with this service is a user license. And with that, you receive unlimited protection. And what I mean by that, if we fast forward, is with that service, by paying per user, we'll automatically back up your data on a daily basis, automatically, but you can also customize that to your specific needs. So you can do this more frequently, for example, every 4 or 8 hours, as an example that we've seen. We'll store that data indefinitely within the iland cloud, so you don't need to worry about storage or anything like that. We'll retain all of those store points indefinitely for you to utilize. Again, unlimited storage quota included. And we provide a lot of multiple different types of recovery options for your organization. And I believe this is the most critical aspect of backup, is really not only just to be able to send that data offsite, but how easy is it for your organization to recover that data? And we're going to be running through that today with the presentation. So we did want to give you a quick overview of the service. As you can see on the Microsoft 365 side on the left, you've got Exchange, SharePoint, OneDrive. One thing that's missing here that will be available if you consume our service is also Teams. So we do protect Teams data, and we understand that that's a critical aspect of your communication and collaboration. So all of the data that's housed in Microsoft 365 is covered automatically. We'll perform that daily backup, and we'll store it indefinitely on encrypted storage for security. And then I'll show you later on, but the iland Secure Cloud Console is how you actually find files that are being stored within our backup infrastructure and granularly recover them back to the Microsoft 365 site. And there's a lot of different options for recovery. But the key thing here that you can see is there's nothing to run on premises. There's nothing to run in the cloud. You can seamlessly consume this service and consume it for your outcomes that you're looking for without having to run anything else. We'll just manage that replication from Microsoft 365 to iland and perform the restores straight back as well. So it's a fully cloud-based service. If I touch on a couple of the other key attributes of the service, obviously security and compliance is key to a lot of organizations. So we perform both in-flight and at-rest encryption for security purposes. We'll support you, as I mentioned before, with 24/7 365 support, again, from deployment through to utilizing the service. The SLA is really key. Again, you want to make sure that it's reliable, that this service is backing up your data every day, and we're there to perform the recoveries when you need it. And again, it's globally available. So wherever you utilize the service from Microsoft, as well as where you reside as an organization, you can find the right place to sit the data within the iland side for data sovereignty requirements as well. And I mentioned one of the key things for backup is how flexible the recovery is and how quick it is as well to get the data back. So I'm going to run through a couple of the different options that you have across some of the services within Microsoft 365. So here we have Exchange Online. And this is going to be common across some of the services, but you can see, first of all, you can export those Exchange items that we've stored within our backups straight back into Exchange Online. You can do this very granularly as well, so you can pick out specific elements and put those back in. So there's a very quick route to get the data back into 365 for your users to leverage. But also, really importantly, is you can actually take the data back down to your local site as well if you want to do some e-discovery, or you want to use that file for an HR process as well. So you can both export the data as a .message or as .pst. And we've seen that .pst be a really good option for organizations as maybe an employee leaves the company, but maybe something from a legal perspective happens. You need to actually pass that data across to your HR team to explore. They can do that from a local perspective really easily as well. And we obviously compare the entire folder, the mailbox, to see which missing items are there, which have changed, and give you the options to restore the ones that you need as well. If we move forward again, it's a similar story for SharePoint. So you can again export the data straight back into SharePoint Online to the current point in time or a historic point. And again, you can download the files locally through the iland Secure Cloud Console as a zip file or an individual file as well. And again, we more importantly allow you to restore any file to a prior version as well. We know that maybe the latest point in time isn't the one that you want. And for OneDrive for Business, we have a whole range of different options that I'm just going to populate here, from restoring again straight back into Microsoft 365 to downloading locally, to restoring data within Microsoft Teams. Again, version control is included, the ability to restore and overwrite or merge, and also the ability to maintain the custom extended role-based access attributes and access controls from OneDrive for Business back straight into the environment. So we're cognizant of those controls and why they're important, and those are taking precedent when we actually restore the data back into that environment as well. So I'm going to skip ahead. I'm not going to do a live demo today, but what I'm actually going to do is show you the iland Secure Cloud Console. As I mentioned, this is the way to monitor your backup solution and the ability to control the backup jobs, as well as the ability to restore data back into your Microsoft 365 environment. And the iland Secure Cloud Console is really a single unified interface. In fact, it's used by our customers who consume other services with iland. Maybe you decided to do backup and disaster recovery with us for your VMware-based workloads, and at the same time use our 365 service. And you may have different global services as well, maybe being a multinational organization. All of those services can be managed through the single interface. So it's making it very seamless for your IT administrators to perform the tasks that they need to on a daily basis. And this is accessible from laptops, workstations, as well as mobile devices as well. So you can always get to the information you need. So first of all, for the 365 service, we wanted to make sure that obviously iland is going to be performing the daily backups on a 24-hourly basis. We want to give you that confidence that the solution is in place and it's running successfully. So as we perform those daily backups, we ensure the success of those backups. The iland Secure Cloud Console is the place where you can go to audit and verify the status of that protection. So you can see in my screenshot, we had 4 successful runs in this demonstration, and we have a running job there as well. And it tells you the amount of items that have been transferred from Microsoft 365 to iland. So it's giving you that peace of mind that the solution is in place. All of these reports and pieces of information can be downloaded and shared across the organization. So if you have an audit where it focuses on data protection, you can get that data from the iland Secure Cloud Console as well. Again, we can verify individual user backup status. So with the solution, obviously you pay per user. You can protect the entire environment, or you can protect a subset of the environment. But regardless of which path you choose, with the iland Cloud Console, you can see which users within the 365 environment are backed up and which are not backed up. So this is something to keep an eye on, and obviously updating the backup jobs to cover what you need to do as an organization. And you have full control to customize those jobs to protect either entire locations or individual groups or users as well. And again, this is the place to see the information, download and share that information as well. Alongside that, we realized that folks don't want to be constantly logged into the console to keep track of the status. So we wanted to provide an easy way to get that information at a glance. And so on a daily basis, you'll receive a status email that will show you the backup status across all of your services that you're backing up with iland. Again, this is a really nice way to just monitor it on a daily basis. If you see anything that you need to look at, you can delve into the console and check it out as well. As I mentioned, as we're backing up daily, we're storing those restore points indefinitely. So you'll have a whole range of different options to recover from today to all of the way back, maybe up to multiple years of data as well. And so with the solution, we can say, hey, we want to go into this backup job. We want to restore it back to April 30th, for example, in 2020. We can do that. And what this will do is mount a copy of that backup and provide you visibility into the data that's housed and allow you to restore that back as you need it. So once we've done that, as you can see in this visual, you'll see an Explorer, and we've built Explorers specific to each service that's in Microsoft 365, from SharePoint to OneDrive to Exchange. And those are built contextually so that they show the relevant information to those services. So in my example that you can see here, you can see a specific mailbox, the iland product user. And you can see the calendar, the contacts, the drafts, the deleted items, the inbox, for example. And you can see all of the emails within each of those individual folders, including the timestamp as well. So If we wanted to seamlessly restore a specific email, you can find it, click it, and restore straight back to 365. If you want to, again, get that locally, you can do that as well. Or if you want to maybe restore an entire folder, again, we just click restore next to the folder and get that back. And to complete the story, if it's an entire user, we can click the user and again, restore that entire user back into 365 or download it locally as well. And the same is said for all of the services again, OneDrive and SharePoint. You can get entire sites, specific entities. Again, it's very granular in terms of what you can recover. Again, each time you do a restore, it's obviously important to see who did that restore, when they did it, and what happened as well. We understand that that's critical for auditing purposes for the business. And so as you can see in this example, we keep an audit trail for every single time a restore session happens and when data is restored either locally or back into 365. And again, this can be downloaded and shared across the organization. We also understand that, again, we run this 24 hourly by default, but you can actually trigger additional backups ad hoc when you need to. So maybe if you're about to purge a bunch of users, make some structural changes to the SharePoint sites, make some changes to the OneDrive structure and files, you can take a point in time backup prior to doing that maintenance. And so you'll have the latest point in time should something arise to restore back to that point in time. You also have the ability to customize those default jobs that we create. So we do it every 24 hours, as I mentioned, but you can customize it down to 4 hours, 1 hour, whatever works for the business, and make it specific to certain services or certain users where you want more frequent backups as well. So all of this is customizable through the console. Again, cost is really critical. We mentioned that it's per user. There's no additional costs such as bandwidth or storage or support or security, any of those costs. It's all based on a per user cost. And so you can track those costs within the iland console at all times. They should be very predictable. Again, if you're protecting maybe 500 users, you'll see the number of users protected and the cost, and it's very linear. And you can add additional protection at any point in time for your organization and see that cost as it changes. We also understand that there's a lot of power in the console in terms of visibility, control, the ability to restore data. And so within the console, for all of our services, we provide a graphical user interface to manage the security permissions of the users that are logging into the console, maybe to perform restores. So you can customize these permissions as needed to make them relevant for your organization, to meet the needs of your organization as well. And you can do that at any time within the console. I keep mentioning support. I personally believe support is really critical. You may be very savvy, you understand how it works. Maybe you've used Veeam-based services before. You've used backup solutions, but the fact is as well, we provide that 24/7, 365 support at all times. It's no cost. It's available via telephone, via live chat, and all different methods as well. So you can always get that helping hand should you ever need it to perform those restores. If you've got an issue with a backup job, for example, you can contact iland and we can work that through with you as well. And again, it's important to design the solution up front in terms of the users that you wish to protect and understanding what the growth looks like so we can fine tune the backup solution to meet your requirements. So again, we're supporting you through that journey. So I'm hoping this has been kind of really interesting for the folks that have been on the phone today. As I mentioned at the start, 365 backup and data protection is just one part of a simplified, comprehensive data protection strategy that a lot of organizations are adopting today. And if I just focus again, 365 obviously is protecting the Microsoft 365 environment, but a lot of organizations that we speak to, again, continue to run VMware-based environments locally, and they need to back up that data locally, but also send that data off-site. Our secure cloud backup with Veeam is a great solution for that, so that you can get that data off-site, but also, again, provide seamless recovery mechanisms back to your local location. Ditch the need for a second location, the need to go physically to a location to change tapes, for example. These are some of the use cases why we've seen organizations adopting our backup service. Object storage is also a key one. Maybe you're not using Veeam, maybe you're using a different vendor locally for backup. We have an object store platform that a lot of the backup providers can plug into from an S3 perspective to provide a secure location offsite to get your data to. So this is a really good one as well. And disaster recovery as a service, the ability, should the local location be completely offline, maybe it's a networking issue, maybe the entire site's offline, maybe it's a catastrophic failure as well. This gives you the ability not only to get the data off site, but also to have all of the networking and security and compute there so that you can spin those systems up at any point in time. So we feel often a lot of organizations leverage multiple systems from us to get to the outcome they're looking for. And as I mentioned, it's all managed through the iland console at any point in time. So we've simplified that experience. One thing I also wanted to touch on just before we kind of finalize as well is that we have a lot of customers obviously leveraging this today. One customer in the US, Benchmade Knife Company, leveraged the 365 solution as well as our DR as a service and cloud backup solution. And for them, it was really critical because once they had the service on board, they actually suffered an incident of accidental folder deletion. And because they had the iland service in place, they're able to get that folder back up and running within 30 minutes for the employee. And they were able to keep working, which is the most critical aspect. So it's not just the technology, it's what you're looking to achieve and making sure that we can help you when you need it to recover your data as well. So I hope this has been pretty interesting. It's been a fast tour of our solution. If you do want to find out more, we actually have a dedicated website here at iland.com. Iland.com/free-computer-world is where you can find more information about different services. We have free trials for our variety of different services as well. So if you want to get hands-on with these solutions, we can definitely help that. And we can also provide more in-depth demonstrations to help you understand how this solution fits for your organization as well. And for the folks that have kind of reached the end as well, we mentioned potentially at the start that we're doing a prize draw. For the folks who've got to this point, I really value your time and appreciate you watching this presentation. We're going to be doing a prize draw after the webinar for a Ticketmaster £100 voucher. We wanted to support the industry as hopefully we get back to a little bit of normality. And so watch out for an email for the lucky winner, and we'll be sending you that as well. But again, thank you for everyone's time. We'd be actually working through now and doing a Q&A, so stop by for a little bit longer. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. But thank you very much for attending and look forward to speaking to you again soon.